Welcome to the NPTE Final Frontier podcast, helping one student at a time. Visit NPTEFF.com to enroll today so you can pass tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us here on the NPTE Final Frontier podcast. My name is Emily.
And my name is David. Today, we will be interviewing Ravneet Singh. Ravneet Singh is the co-founder and lead instructor of PCE Final Frontier, helping students prepare and overcome their physiotherapy licensure exam in Canada. Ravneet received his master's in rehabilitation at Loma Linda University in California. He received his bachelor's from Khalsa College in Amritsar, India. He is currently the director of rehabilitation at a skilled nursing facility in California. Most recently, he was awarded the Best Director of Rehabilitation Award within 25 facilities. He is the Chief Information Officer for Foreign Academic Credentialing Tools and Services. Ravneet, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, David. Hello, Emily. Thank you for having me here. It's been a great journey with Final Frontier, and I've been looking forward to talk with you on the podcast, and it's been there in my list for a very long time. So finally, thank you very much for having me here. I'm very excited to talk to you, and thank you very much for such a warm welcome.
Yes, it is our absolute pleasure. The listeners are going to love it. So tell us, why did you choose to become a physical therapist?
Well, you know what? Originally, I was accepted into the dental and the PT school together when I took my exams in India. But I selected physical therapy because, back then when I was like 16 or 17, I thought like if I become a dentist, then I would be just focusing on one area of the body. But for the physical therapy, I would be able to work on a broader area of the human body. And it was like really growing in India, and it sounded really fascinating when I started searching about it. So I decided to go with the PT while the profession itself is growing in India. And I was like, maybe this is a very good opportunity because I come from a family where we have a lot of health professionals, a lot of doctors, dentists, like pharmacists. And while talking with everyone, we came to a conclusion, let's go with physical therapy. There's a lot to cover and there's a lot we can, grow with this profession.
That's such a good point. I never thought about how physical therapy really is just such a general whole body approach. We're treating every system, every component of the body. So that's a great reason to kind of gear more down the physical therapy route. I like that. So what led you to starting PCE Final Frontier? And for our listeners who maybe don't know too much about PCE Final Frontier, tell us a little bit more about this program.
Sure. Well, it's a great question. Honestly, I can go on for like hours on this, but I would respect the time that we have for this podcast. So basically, PCE is Physiotherapy Competency Exam in Canada. Just like we have NPTE in the States, we have PCE in Canada. When I started working with NPTE Final Frontier back in 2016, I saw how things were done. The mission Dr. Singh had, started to work on, like to change the face of education, the type of learning and teaching. It was really fascinating. And I've always wanted to become a professor. Fun fact, I decided to go for PhD, but then I dropped my idea. I'll tell you why. But PCE is basically, it's a license exam in Canada. When I was teaching for the NPTE, I used to get candidates for the PCE as well, and I started to noticing the problems that a lot of candidates would face. Like the very basic problem was they didn't know how to study for PCE. There was literally nobody to tell what exactly to do for PCE. And then I started working on it. I started teaching, like I would take like one student at a time, sometimes two, sometimes three. A lot of people, what they've learned is PCE Final Frontier was founded in 2020, but that's not right. I started teaching for PCE in 2017, and we didn't want to launch PCE Final Frontier until I understand the process completely. And when I was confident that I know the psychology of the PCE candidates in Canada, we decided to launch PCE Final Frontier. And we are very proud to say that we are offering the most affordable education in Canada. And we have the biggest team that you can imagine who's working with us at this time to help a lot of hundreds of candidates in Canada.
And you have one of the most incredible teams that you have put together over there. And it's so impressive to see what all of you have been doing with the students, and the pass rate and everything has been incredible. So what is one thing that you feel could be done to make the physical therapy profession better?
It's a great question. And I think with a practice of at least a decade in this profession, I can really frankly say that if our physios become better listeners, we are hearing the problems of patients all the time. But as a practitioner, I strongly believe if we can become better listener, we can really become a very good healthcare professional. And something that I noticed in my practice, a lot of people would be very excited to start working as a physiotherapist, but that excitement goes away because the system that is made in a way that you have to follow certain rules and regulations or insurance to have these kind of treatments, and you are very limited towards your treatments because everything is controlled by the insurances. But one thing I learned, that if we try to avoid the set framework of the treatments, when a patient comes to you, if you're listening to their problems, you can really make a very distinctive treatment for them. So my suggestion would really, and if I'm practicing every day, this is what I usually focus on. If I have a patient with the same pathology that I saw a day before or 2 days before, probably last month, I don't want to treat the patient in the same way that I treated a patient a month ago or even yesterday. I want to listen to my patient and listen to what exactly they require and make a plan of care. So I really think if we become better listeners, we can really make a good difference in our practice.
Yes, and I think with listening goes being an active listener, because I feel like a lot of the times people may be listening, but until they actually listen, take action, and make changes, that is definitely one way that we can help our profession tremendously.
I agree.
All right, so the next question is, what is one piece of advice you would give to physical therapy students? I know it's hard to limit it to just one, but think of that one main thing.
Honestly, I think it's not difficult for me because I've thought about it for a very long time. And because I work with a lot of physios every day, it's not that I only work with patients, but because I'm teaching, I've hundreds of people who are connected with me. And this is something that I really would advise every physiotherapist to do. And my suggestion is to explore your horizon. Learn new skills. When I say learn new skills, it doesn't mean that you have to learn about any physiotherapy new technique. It doesn't have to be physical therapy. Learning a new skill would really make you a better professional. You can learn about leadership, you can learn about team making, you can learn about probably about music. Adding something into your lifestyle really makes a big difference. So this is, I don't know how much people would be able to relate it to it. I love reading. I never used to read before, but now I read a lot, and it has changed me a lot. Not just as a active learner, but as a professional a physiotherapist. Because I believe when you're reading, you're learning so much. I like to read leadership books. I like to read about comedy. I like to read about music. I like to read about sci-fi. So I really believe adding a new skill into your lifestyle instead of what you do in your daily basis would really make you a better person. So
would you say you got more into reading once you were done with the educational component for you to become a physical therapist?
Yes, that's what I would say, because I didn't have a lot to read when I cleared my license, So I had this habit, every day you're studying for 5, 6, 7 hours. But then I started going into the business school. I never completed my MBA, but I loved learning about the business. And when I drop out from my MBA, I started reading about business more, and that's how I got into reading. But now I read different genre all the time, and I always tell people, it's not just about because I like reading, because I've learned so much from reading. And this is what I tell people, like, you have to add a new skill. But yes, I agree when you say, like, I started reading after my PT school.
That's how I was too. I noticed during PT school, I was so focused on studying, I would really only read information pertinent to physical therapy because I had to for school and, studying. But then once I graduated, I noticed I started enjoying reading and so many different genres, and not just related to physical therapy, like you said, other types of reading as well and books. So I got a lot more into reading once I was done.
Right. Yeah, I love it.
So, with all of this, I know those were some hard-hitting questions, but now here comes the most hard-hitting question of them all. This is going to be a fun question, a surprise question. And here we go. Ravneet, you are a collector of only the best sneakers out there. being that you are an avid collector, what is your favorite sneaker and why?
Oh, I can't wait for this response. I'm so excited.
This is the most difficult question of the whole interview. Okay. All right. I would give two answers to this. All right. For the most affordable ones, I think I like Nike Jordans. Okay, the Air Jordans that were launched recently. And if you go with the bigger brands, I think I like the Gucci sneakers. So these are the two favorite ones that I always look forward to buy.
Ravneet is always styling and profiling.
I'm trying to control myself, okay, David? Maybe next time you may ask me something else.
David, what about you? What's your favorite sneaker?
Oh, that is a tough one. I'm going to go with Asics. I have no clue, but Asics. I like Asics.
I'm a Brooks girl for running. I like Brooks over Asics. That's my personal.
Good choice.
All right. So, Ravneet, thank you so much for finally joining us on the podcast. But before we sign off, how can our listeners get in touch with you and find you on social media?
Thank you guys for having me here. It's a lot of fun. Well, for the listeners, you can find us on any platform like Facebook, Instagram, or even emails. Or even YouTube. You just have to type PCE Final Frontier. You'll be able to see our Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram. We post a lot of free content and we do a lot of webinars. This year, we plan to do 12 webinars in a year. And I think we are going to hit that target in next month and probably do a little bit more. But for inquiries, you can write an email at support@pceff.com, or you can go to our website. It's pceff.com.
Now that you heard our interview with Ravneet Singh, here's a quote from Mark Cuban. Work like there is someone working 24 hours a day to take it away from you. That is right, Warriors. Take advantage of that time. Take advantage of every single second that you have. Get it done. Take action. Take action instead of just thinking about it, talking about it. Take that action today. Take it now. You are powerful. You are strong. You are a final frontier warrior. You will pass.
Thank you very much for listening. For more information on NPTE Final Frontier, please visit NPTEFF.com. You can also check out all of our social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Till next time, have a great day and a powerful tomorrow.